So into the charts we go and take a look at Bitcoin today. Not a ton of price action, but again, just look at the pullback off of that technical level right there. And again, this is why I love the technicals. I love the charts because it's the only period in the market or the only point in the markets, and we're talking all asset classes, where I feel like I have a tiny bit of control, right? Basically, the odds are just in my favor, 60, 70, 80%, right? And that's the bottom line, is that you need to be in something. If you're putting your hard-earned money to work, there's no point in doing it if you're basically at the casino. We know about how that will go. So you want to be able to trust the charts, and that's, again, what I like to do here, and ultimately showing you guys how the charts work time and time and time again, from this high here to this low pullback level here to this little bit of a move before the breakdown, and then this bearish pattern that retraced up to here. Now, again, per the probabilities, what's going to happen here? Well, basically, we could go sideways. We could have a little bit of a pullback, a bounce here. But ultimately, I do think we do test this lower level, which is just around 26,000. I do think eventually this breaks down. Now, the reasoning behind that is very simple. This is a bearish consolidation pattern inside of some bigger move to the downside. This move down, this is bearish consolidation. Okay, so again, that gives us a probability that we will likely see some downside continue here, and I have that target still laid out. And again, there still will be some support around 25,000 right here. I mean, again, just because I don't have the trend line there, I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, that's not a support level anymore. It's just not as big as this one here with this one. The reason why I keep this one on the chart is because this is the one where there's two trend lines converging, therefore it's double the support. Versus this would be a single support, this would be double support, or essentially two factors. Okay? All right, one other thing to kind of do here, and again, I don't do the fibs on these shorter term moves that much either, but it would just be intriguing, and look at this. Yeah, so look at this. See this level right here? So what I'm doing here is pivot low to the high, so you're taking this move up, and you're doing a fib retrace, and if we get to 24,000 or 23,800, whatever this is, it's the 618 Fibonacci range. So if you even wanted to take it a step further and say, is that a three-factor trade? Well, yeah, it kind of is at the 618 Fibonacci retrace level. So again, like I've said to you guys, essentially what that means to me is that I'll probably cover my short somewhere in this vicinity as we're getting close, and then I might, and I repeat, I might even look to go long Bitcoin at that level for a swing trade. Okay, so we'll keep you guys posted on that one. And obviously, listen, I mean, let's be fair. You know, it has been quiet. Crypto has been quiet. There's no doubt about it. If you go back right here, this was on May 17th. We are now at June 1st. Excuse me, March 17th, March, April, May, and now June. So basically 3+ months here. And where's crypto been? It's basically been sideways. Yeah, you got a little uptick to 30,500, and then you kind of came down and sideways. But again, this is where you are tested, where I am tested as a disciplined investor and trader. Can I sit on my hands? Can I not do anything stupid where I try to go long or try to go short too many times, ultimately getting whipped and you losing money? And so again, you know, I look at these periods in the market, and this happens in stocks too. It's not quite as common in stocks because you always have some stocks that are getting, you know, huge moves. Like right now, AI stocks are getting huge monster moves, while other stocks like defensive names are getting hammered. So there's always kind of a difference in movement. But especially in crypto, there's a period where the market will test you, and the test is usually, can you sit on your hands and essentially not do anything stupid? So that's where we are right now. I'd love for trades to occur, but at the same time, it has to be under my levels, under my control, when I say it's a good trade setup based on the technicals of the chart. Not based on my gut, not based on my heart, not based on my head and my thoughts and my this and my that, or what Twitter is saying or whatever. It's based on the facts, the charts. That's the key right there, guys. Okay. So again, we know our downside target. If we did get above this trend line and confirmed, then you would actually start re-talking about this 30,500 level. But again, as of now, we're not at that point. We're pulling back off of this. I will say this is that, again, today would be what would be considered a disappointing move in Bitcoin. The reason I say that is because, yes, NVIDIA had a pullback yesterday, but crypto was down yesterday. But look at NVIDIA today. NVIDIA today up 5.5%. That's a $20, $21 move to the upside. Risk assets are having monstrous days. Look at the QQQ today. Q's having a big up day today, up 1.28%. So that's for the NASDAQ. That's actually a big move, folks, about 1.3%. And so to see Bitcoin again struggling brings me back to the thesis that I talked to you guys before about, which is, what the heck is Bitcoin? Is it a risk asset, in which case it should go up when tech stocks, when the stock market goes up? Or is it a defensive play that when the banks are dropping, it's getting bought up then? And really, again, like I've said to you guys many times over, we're not clear on that, and that's not a good thing for the crypto markets. Now, part of it, honestly, I really do believe that waiting for this regulatory kind of clarity is really doing a lot of damage to crypto in the near term. Now, I think it can recover from this longer term, but there's no doubt in my mind that, again, short term, it is a problem because you're just not going to lure in big money. And without big money, I mean, as much as we want, eventually to see Bitcoin at 69,000, at 100,000, at 500,000, you're not doing it without big money. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Smaller investors, yeah, I mean, if you get millions and millions of them and hundreds of millions of them, you can push it up a little bit. But it's the big money that's going to see these ridiculous moves to the upside in crypto, and they're not coming near this space until we get clarity. Okay, so that's what we have there. Let's take a look at the Ethereum chart as we flip through here. Ethereum crept just ever so slightly above, but notice it didn't confirm. Then it came right back in. So you're in the same basic position here, right, where we have this trend line in the underbelly here. That's the equivalent of the Bitcoin line right now that we're watching. If you break that, then you go here. If you're able to get above here and confirm, then you can go up to 2075 or so. I will say this is that it's not very far away to this resistance, and if you break here, it's not that far down. So, I mean, it's all in a tight range here, a couple $100 on Ethereum, but it's the bigger issue would be if this bottom one broke on Ethereum, right? If that breaks, then really, what do you have? You don't have anything until this pivot low right here, and that matches with this pivot high area here, right around 1350, 1375. That would be a big move down on Ethereum to get back to there, and then obviously after that, you have some of these pivot lows. But again, shorter term, we're in a sideways kind of choppy period here, which is you could liken it to consolidation. You could liken it to kind of just the calm before the storm when we get some clarity maybe in crypto, or if the markets are going to start to nosedive in the stock market, does that affect crypto? How does that affect crypto? I mean, there's so many different angles to kind of play ball with from here. But again, right now, you got your support on Ethereum at 1,800. Resistance remains around 1,900. All right, let's look at Matic here. Now, again, Matic is another just, disappointing chart. I feel like it was starting to show some signs of life. Notice how I said I felt. That's in reality, that's inconsequential, right? Who cares what I think? Who cares what I feel? It's what are the charts showing us? But it's good to kind of point that out. You could see it was chopping here, but if you looked at the chart, did it make sense that it was going to pull back off of this area after 1, 2, 3, 4? I mean, it had 4 up days in a row. A lot of people were starting to get bullish. Not me, but a lot of people were, right into this resistance here, this trend line, this upsloping channel, and then what happens right to the low end. Now, if this low end breaks, that's where you go down to this low at around 81 to 82 cents, and then eventually you could find yourself back to this low down here at around 74 to 75 cents. Take a look at Cardano. Same thing with Cardano. Again, it's Cardano is inside of this sideways channel here. It briefly peaked above right here and then came back in. But again, if we break this 35.6 cent level, that's where you get that bigger move down. Now, once it's down here, I'm actually semi-intrigued by it. Again, I can't say that I'll definitively buy it there, but at least it would get my attention a little bit more if we got down into this lower band here. Taking a look at a couple others, Polkadot, same kind of deal, downward trending over the last couple days after a few days of uptrend. By the way, just to point something out, these uptrend moves in the alts were over the holiday weekend. Remember, it's a 3-day weekend here in the U.S. And again, I always warn you guys, be very careful. Don't believe, if it's a weekend, don't believe the move in crypto unless there's specific news driving it. And again, great example here. Great example with Ethereum. Great example with Bitcoin. Look at how it's just slowly faded, and people that chased the move to the upside and were buying in towards the highs now find themselves underwater on these trades. Even Solana. Solana looked reasonably good. It was up, but it was up into resistance. It has stalled. Now, in all fairness, it's still holding, compared to a lot of the other alts, it's still holding a fair amount of the gains. But right now, I would love to see a pullback down to this yellow trend line. That actually could be a buying opportunity. It's a retrace to a breakout, right? So pivot high on this trend line there, right here, and then broke out. If you could get a sell-off down, let's say to 1865, 1860, that could potentially be an opportunity to actually go long as a retrace to the scene of the crime play. Okay? Avalanche, let's see what we got going on there. Nothing there. It's barely holding on, but it is still holding on to technical support right here. So that's, again, same thing. We've been seeing it for a while. This chart, again, this line has to be adjusted now, and I want to show you this. So basically, I think we can get rid of this when we've chopped through it. Anytime you chop through a line, it becomes kind of like more like Swiss cheese. One time, okay. But once you do like 2 or 3 times of chopping through, it's Swiss cheese, and it doesn't have the same sort of power. So for me now on Chain Link, this is my support level right here, right around $6.20. Then you even have another support level at $5.90. So, I mean, there's a few supports down here. In terms of where would I be potentially a buyer on this? Oof. I mean, maybe double bottom. Maybe. See, the thing is, you have a level here, right? And again, look at that. So, I mean, I understand why that... I mean, I guess you didn't confirm below it, so maybe this is still semi-valid. I guess we'll keep it on our radar right there. But if you confirm below this upsloping trend line, it really makes this chart very vulnerable to some downside. XRP has had a nice move recently, although pulling back over the last day or so. Again, not making a higher high, which is slightly negative, but it's still a nice move up. Right? Now, for those of you that have taken the Winning Trader series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, if you start from here, this is the low point. That's where you have to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On 7, it starts to pull back. Again, know your time counts. They're very, very powerful and good to utilize. All right. Let me see. Uniswap. We can take a look at that. Uniswap, same kind of deal, right on major support right here. Again, if that breaks, you go down to double bottom, down around the 330 level on that chart. And yeah, I think really overall we can look at BNB real quick, see what BNB has for us. Yeah, I mean, again, not a great chart here, to me at least. I think we can clarify these trend lines a little bit. This one can stay here. This one's not bad. We'll reach that out actually all the way over to here. And then we can even put in this right at these lows, right? So right in here. So essentially you have a channel, right? But again, bearish channel, down move in the lower percentage area. It's consolidating. That's bearish. Doesn't mean it can't have a small bounce, but overall, if you purely are talking probabilities, this probably has about a 70% chance of breaking down, 30% chance of breaking up. And so again, that's everything that it comes to be with charts. It's all about those probabilities, guys. Always remember that. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will do my best to keep you updated. Have a great one. Take care.